This edition of the Rahman Experience is brought to you by PNPNutrition.com. If you've got fitness goals, they've got you covered. Your one-stop shop for supplements, plans, and all things fitness. The Jacksonville Free Press, publishing quality urban news for more than 30 years. And by Edward Waters College, preserving history, promising futures.
The Rahman Experience. It's a brand new experience, a brand new time, a brand new way to do it. Hey, yeah, it's all mine. I'm the one telling stories you thought couldn't be told. I'm the one that bring you in when you shaking from the cold. I'm the one always out front, yeah, trying something new. I'm the one that's gonna deliver when they ask what it do. Politics, entertainment, a science, Waterloo. Keeping you on the level with the stuff you can use. DJ Kids on the beat, the Ross got the track. It's the Rahman Experience, you know that's where it's at.
You're inside the Rahman Experience. What's going on? It is Rahman Johnson, and you know what? This is my podcast, and I'm so excited to start this opportunity with podcasting with something that is world-changing. Now, if you don't know who I am, feel free to go to my website, RahmanJohnson.com. You can catch me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at RahmanJ. That's at RahManJ. Sometimes it's just me talking. Sometimes I'll have a guest. It's things I like to talk about. The news, culture, community. Little of this, little of that. But today, I have with me one of America's foremost authors and academics, AE Derban. Professor AE Derban is a professor of communications and journalism at Edward Waters College. She's also a very talented actor as well as an author of several books, and she's currently a PhD student at the University of North Florida. Let's welcome AE Derban. How are you, Professor Derban?
I am ecstatic because I am eating, and most people who know me know that my favorite pastime is to eat and or sleep.
So this is lunch and lunch and podcast and learn. So
yes.
Glad to be sharing lunch with you. The first of all, before we get into the 900-pound gorilla in the room, which is Panther, Black Panther, of course, which is what we got to talk about. But first and foremost, for you, as an author, tell me about your style of writing and how being an author, and I know this is not going to be your last visit to the Rahman Experience, but being an author, like what do you, what's different about your writing and what you bring to the table?
Well, thank you for asking. You'll find on my book, on my website, my main motto is I write stories about those people who are on the sides. You know, those people who aren't the main character. They're the people who are the ancillary to our lives. They're the people who open the door or who happen to give you a leg up and, you know, helped you buy that car when you just didn't have it and you were down those last $50, or you were moving and, you know, someone said, hey, I have a wash and dryer you can have.
Wow.
I tell those kinds of stories. And so they come from a place of realism, mixed with fiction, of course, because it take a lot of license. And they're New York stories. They're North Carolina stories. Anywhere I've been, I take my experiences and I tell those stories because first and foremost, I am a storyteller.
And speaking of New York, you were born and raised in New York. Tell me about your experience there. You're a Brooklyn girl.
Never.
I know you're from Bronx, but I want to just, you know, I rep for Brooklyn. I went to grad school at Seton Hall, lived in Brooklyn for a minute, so I'm a Brooklyn boy in my mind.
You know, not for nothing. Big up to BK. You know, I did live there for a number of years with my family. We're straight off of, you know, Hawthorne Avenue, Flatbush. Y'all know it if you really from Brooklyn.
Hey.
But I was born in Harlem, raised in the boogie down Bronx. I don't take anything away from it. I am a BX girl all day, every day. A real one. Down by Yankee Stadium. What's up, 158 Morris, Conquest Village. You know, I'm a New Yorker. It's who I am. I fully embrace it.
And how did those experiences growing up in New York shape who you are now and you as a writer?
To be quite honest, we had some very colorful characters growing up. I had a great childhood. As poor as I was, I didn't know I was poor. Went through the same kinds of trials and tribulations most people go through. You know, you have a bully, but my bully is my good friend now, you know.
Are you serious? You became best friends with your bully?
Absolutely.
I love it.
Because I was blessed to have, you know, a wonderful father who said, you know, sometimes you gotta put yourselves in other people's shoes, you know, see where it's coming from. If you say you haven't done anything, if that's the truth, then you can mend fences. You know, does this person really want to hurt you? And she really didn't. She is a really good person, awesome mom, hard worker. She strives for the community. And just to think that if I didn't find that place, or she didn't find that place where we can meet and have a place of forgiveness, true forgiveness, and redemption, and allow people to grow and be kids, you know, and not hold that forever and change who we are as people. Who knows who we would have been. So yeah, they're doing great.
And you talked about your dad. I mean, you said growing up in Brooklyn. You are
keep it up here.
Well, I'm just saying you're first. I say Brooklyn, but I really mean Bronx. And I know I don't want to get beat down here in the podcast. You're first generation true African American. Your father's from Ghana.
Yes, mother and father from Ghana.
Yeah.
Winneba, Ghana.
Yeah.
Never been ashamed of it. In fact, it brought me great pride whenever we had family functions in the community center right there, and my family would come out, and it would look like Coming to America, because I know that's the best reference I could give. It would look like Coming to America with the beautiful headdresses and the wraps, and they looked amazing. I was filled with pride, and you know, I mean, I'm still a kid, you know, hoping that my friends would not tease me so I don't have to, you know, be in an argument or a fight or whatever. But they would always say, your family, oh my goodness, they look so beautiful. Everybody looks so nice, so colorful. Can we come in? Can we eat? Look at they dancing. Can we dance? Sure. Because come on in. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
My family has a good time. We are always dancing. Always.
And the beauty of a place like New York, which is almost its own character in a story.
Yes, sir, it is.
The beauty of somewhere like New York is the fact that there's so many cultures and ethnicities, and so those nuances within the ethnicities.
Right.
So it's not just African or Ghanaian or
Right.
Yoruba or Nigerian or whatever. I'm New York, but then here's my microcosm of New York, but I'm still New York.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we have a lot that we, how can I say this? On the macro level, we are all New Yorkers, and then we whittle it down to, you know, what borough you're from, and then we whittle it down to your family, your street, your actual ethnicity, and it does matter. We're prideful of all of it. The reasons why, and I used to tease a lot of people and make fun of my own self, make fun of myself. When I was in high school, or actually went on to college, and I saw how crazy it sounded to say, "You don't know me? I'm from New York, son." And I'm like, what does that mean? I could say the same thing. Oh, I'm from Detroit, or I'm from Oklahoma. Like, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's not supposed to strike fear in the hearts of anyone, but
unless you know New York.
That is what we always did, even between the boroughs. You'd be like, "Oh, you don't know me, son. I'm from the Bronx. I'm from 150 Mars. Come see me. What you want to do?" You know?
Wow.
As if that is your badge of honor and that is your shield, if you will, to protect you and keep those people at bay before you actually have to do something. But not for nothing, I am nice with these hands.
So, of all the characters, let's talk about the acting side. We need to talk about your writing side, as we lunch and learn.
Yeah, we'll lunch and learn.
Which character is your favorite? Like, what character do you look back to? Do you have some favorite characters you've played in your career? I'll tell you some of mine.
Yes, please.
But in your career, what are some of the characters you played that are your favorite?
Oh.
Or have become? As an actor, too, you know, we don't play characters. We become them.
Okay. Ironically, my favorite character was from Steel Magnolias. I was able to play Trudy. Mm-hmm. The hairdresser. It was a character very far from me, but I put it into myself and became. I consider myself a method actress. So I became this beautician. I walked around with my smock and, you know, kept my hair clips, banana clips. You guys, you know, people who are stylists know you keep your duckbill clips on your apron side, on your lapel, because you have to be ready to do hair. There's usually a comb in your hair, a comb in your apron. You are ready to go at any given time. And you're talking and moving at the same time. It is a rhythm that happens. I loved that character. The next character I would probably say would be playing Ruth in oh my goodness, let me not lose my train of thought. And goodness, why can't I think? Anyway, y'all know. I played Ruth Bigger, okay?
Oh God! I want to say West Side Story, and it's not that.
No, not at all.
Oh my
That's
God!
What I was gonna get. I'm having such a brain fart. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise
Sidney Poitier,
everybody,
Bonita,
Estherole, like we.
Oh my God! Come on!
I really, and I know you all are laughing at us, but I promise you, we know this play, but she was my character, Ruth Bigger. Why can't I think of it?
That is sad. You know what? As we get older, but that tells our age as actors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
As I just looked at something that, talked about this particular play. Is that crazy?
Why can't I mean, it's blowing me. Okay, well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I love the character because she's nothing like I am.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way she had spoken to her husband. I don't speak to anything.
A Raisin in the Sun.
A Raisin in the Sun.
Oh my word! And I didn't even pull it up. I was looking and I couldn't think of it. Raisin in the Sun.
And not that.
And it took us like a long time to get it.
And we've memorized Langston's Home. Like, we know this. We know it.
God.
But just her character was very. And as much as I profess to be such an aggressive person or assertive person, I'm really not like that when I'm in a relationship. So that took a lot of characterization on my part to really delve into who she is, not who I am. Wow. Because we have to remember that these are living, breathing characters that these authors, these playwrights have developed. It is an honor to be that person, and we have to remember that's not you, that's them.
And the most interesting thing, I mean, having worked in this craft for a long time, I had the honor of being selected by Bill Duke to be in the Bill Duke Acting Conservatory. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Mr. Duke would say was, learn as much as you can about the character and then get the hell out of the way.
Yes.
Let them come down. And it took me a while, but he got in my behind. I 2 Trains Running. Mm-hmm. I thought, and I did 2 Trains Running, and granted, it's Bill Duke, so like he knew August, like he was that guy, and so he listened, and when I was at the conservatory, I was the only male that had performed this particular day, and the guys were like, okay, you got to do this one for the guys,
right?
And I got up 2 Trains Running, and I told the story of how the prophet became the preacher, how he went into finding the Lord. So I'm telling this story, and I did it. And I had gone all the way in character. When I come up, I'm done, and I look around, entire class on their feet clapping. They're doing. Mr. Duke is sitting there, and you know how Bill Duke looks with those eyes, and he's like 1,000, right, this tall, big guy.
Yeah.
And so he's looking at me. He was like, "You're good. You do good." And all I could hear is that line. And was it Predator? I think it was Predator. It was like, you done fucked up, right? You remember that line when he said that? And that's all I could hear. I'm like, oh God, it's Bill Duke. What am I doing? And finally, he gives me some coaching. Mm-hmm. He was like, you're supposed to be a preacher, discovering the Lord, but you ain't preached. You acting.
Yes, sir.
And gave me, and that's all I could say.
Yes,
I wasn't going to debate the brother. I was like, let me see how I can make these changes. When I came up from the role, because usually when I go, I disappear.
Yeah.
When I came back to consciousness, I was in tears. The room was in tears. People were up shouting. I mean, it was like
because you had become.
Yeah.
And that.
It was an experience.
Of all the people that I love, I would want to work for. People have dreams. I wish to be in his presence. Bill Duke.
Oh, wow.
Of all the people.
Ironically, I didn't know that. Okay.
Bill Duke. As much as I love Spike Lee, Spike, hit me up. I'm ready when you are. But
hello, Spike Lee. 40 Acres and a Mule.
To know that Bill Duke, I just, when I see him, I feel that I'm going to be developed. I am a learner, a lifelong learner. I never mind taking direction. I believe that the eye of the director is not to tell you that you can't act, but she or he has a vision of where they want the character to go. You just are the character.
Yeah.
So let her
come down.
Let them do.
Yeah, Duke is amazing. All right, so my characters, I guess the best on stage, one of my favorite roles. I am not a singer. I'm just going to tell you that. I can sing.
Ladies and gentlemen, he can sing. Don't let him fool
but
you.
In my mind, but I am not a singer. I am an actor. Mm-hmm. And I remember my first audition for a singing role. And I told the director, I said, well, I'm an actor. and I'm going to act like I can sing. And if I'm anywhere a decent actor, you'll hire me, and I got the job. It was, but my favorite character was, and it has sparked my love of French to this day and Creole. It was Once on This Island.
Yes.
I was Agwe, the god of water, and I made the character like there was this TV show on, and I know I'm going to reveal my nerd status to those who don't know it. There's a TV show called Gene Roddenberry's Earth Final Conflict.
Oh yeah, no, everybody knows about Gene.
And so, do you remember the Darakna and the Loire and those characters? And they had this like fluid movement where they were always moving. I mimicked that for Agwe. So during the entire show, I had Agwe because he was the god of water. And what does water always do? It's always moving. So the entire show, I'm just kind of like everything he does is just constantly moving. He's constantly something is, and it's flowing. It's not torrential. It's very slight and very and so I use that, but I learned to speak Creole because I wanted to understand Haiti and Haitians.
Right.
And then I fell in love with the language and the culture and the beauty of how these Haitian people were the first people in the hemisphere to be free, and they taught us as African Americans in this country how to do free. Right. They taught us how to be free.
Right.
So I gotta say, that was my probably favorite role, even though I've done a lot of other roles, and some of them speak to me. Each role speaks to me in a different way. Right. But my favorite, Agwe, was because he was a god and a mortal.
Well, let me challenge you here.
Sure.
Let me ask you, if there were a role, because I have a role, that I have not played it, I just want to play it. Sure. My dream role is to play Lady Macbeth.
Woo! Out damn spot out, I say.
Now, mind you, when I went to Talented Unlimited High School, it's one of those performing arts high schools in New York, you have to audition for. Okay. And I auditioned for several things, including, musical theater, chorus, and regular theater, just stage acting. Yeah. I should have also auditioned for dance, but I wound up in ballet anyway because it's that kind of school. In fact, my school was the set for the movie Fame.
Yes. Gotcha.
So, yeah. So I went in there with this air, and I'm all of maybe 14, 15 years old, and I read Lady Macbeth, and I read this, and I nail it in my mind, and the teacher looked over, and he says, "That was awful."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was awful. He said, "Don't ever do that again." And I looked at... I was stuck, and I walked out. Now, a couple of lessons there, anybody who's an aspiring actor. First of all, don't ever walk out. Get the feedback. Find out what you can do to improve, as you did. But I was a kid, and I was destroyed. But here it is, New York City. They're going to be that brutal with you wherever you go.
Oh, my word.
Went on, and as I grew as an actor in different venues, I realized he was right. I was awful. I put on a fake accent. It doesn't work. It was not nuanced. I didn't understand who she was.
Whoa.
I had no clue.
Because she is so complex. The Lady Macbeth is so complex.
To now that I know who she is, I can spit Lady Macbeth. So much so that whenever I was teaching senior English and everybody said, "Oh, we have to do Macbeth," by the time we were done, everyone was doing Macbeth. All of my students who are urban students, transcending race, so just want to let you know it's very culturally diverse. Everyone was so into it. I had them understanding the plight of Lady Macbeth, It was such a dream. The language no longer was a barrier for them because I understood it. So now they understood it.
And you were able, being number one from New York,
yes,
and the home of hip hop, and being number two young, you were able to almost code switch and translate Shakespearean English, which I guess Shakespeare was the hip hop of his time too.
And he had some slick things in
there. Wasn't he shady, as they say? But Shakespeare, you're able to change it into something where they could get it.
Right.
They could get it. Yeah. So.
Dream role. Don't skate.
A dream role?
What
oh my gosh, that's a big question. You know what? And it's good. It's a great segue for us. I want to be in Wakanda.
Me too.
I want to be in Wakanda. I'm going to tell you, my dream role, let me see. This is the one I've been practicing on for you.
Oh, Lord.
I will do the Wakanda accent because I am here today to talk about the place from Wakanda. I will be there. There is no way that I will allow someone to come into my homeland and take it away from me without me doing something to polish it off. I love Wakanda, and I will die before I let anyone else take it away. That's I want to be. I will be hand warrior number 3 in Wakanda. You know what I mean? That's how much
What were they called? The Nadora. Okay.
The warrior goddess. Yeah, goddesses to me.
Well, I will meet you in Wakanda, but for me, I will fight for the General Ogoye. Okay? This woman here, how she is so fierce.
Yes.
She is so fierce.
Yes.
For her, I will fight. For Wakanda, I will fight.
Yes.
Till my last breath.
I will see you there. We will do it together. We will go together and we will find a way to go and be in Wakanda together.
Hey.
And Okoye will bring us. General Okoye is our friend. She will bring us together. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, these are characters. You are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You sound like you've been to Wakanda before.
Look, this is what happens when you grow up with Ghanaian parents.
I don't know what mine is. Just I got a warped mind, so I can create my own reality. So, well, those are characters. General Okoye, my favorite character in Black Panther, M'Baku, who's one of the Japani. I just love the names. M'Baku is my favorite character.
Really?
Over T'Challa, yeah. I love T'Challa. Absolutely love T'Challa. And T'Chaka. Love T'Chaka.
They weren't my favorites. I mean, I liked them, but they weren't my favorites.
Oh, M'Baku was so funny. And we'll talk about it. So this is the main premise of the show. Black Panther. This movie has broken records right now, $360 million worldwide and counting.
Right.
There's the first time an African-American director has gotten hundreds of millions of dollars to helm a film. Mind you, this guy's only 31 years old. And I think his first project got $900,000 for Fruitvale Station.
Right. So
we're talking a guy that's come to the table and as a director has solicited some amazing talent. When you had Zuri.
But before you add to that,
sure.
He's already started a premise that other directors have done. He's taken an actor he's already worked with and brought him into his next film.
Yes.
That's Michael B. Jordan. So he's starting a premise again that other directors do when they are...
Like Spike. Spike does it all the time. Denzel.
He's my favorite director. Spike Lee is my favorite. Although, again, I still want to do, see me, Mr. Do. But, that right there, there's so much to speak about when it comes to Wakanda.
Oh my.
Not just the characterization, but, let's talk about the characters first. And then we can talk about the social commentary of the entire movie. They did that.
I mean, it was beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful things I think I can have ever seen when you think about all of the specifics that are indigenous to Wakanda and to what is being, this particular project. It seems to be such a unique place in history because I don't think ever before in cinema, in TV, have African people been depicted as the most advanced civilization on the planet.
No, never. Now, to say that they've never been depicted positively, of course you can't say that. I'll tell my students about Shaka Zulu, love him. That was great. But this was something different. This was something wholly and completely different. To feel pride in a movie from the beginning to the very end, and not in a way that you feel superior in someone else because it always denotes that someone has to feel inferior.
Right.
It wasn't that. It was see who we've always been.
Yes.
We've always been this.
Yes.
This wasn't to be braggadocious. It was to, hey, we're going to let you in on a little secret. Welcome to our world stage, not just yours, but the world stage.
Yeah.
Because there are other communities and other cultures that have superheroes and they celebrate this way. But Black Panther is not anything new. He was out in the 80s. And if you're a comic book reader, like myself, and if you grew up around a whole bunch of boys and you have no choice, you already knew. And this was the excitement, at least for people in my generation, and older who, again, are in that kind of Comic-Con and comic book lifestyle, we got excited not just about him being a black man, which is, again, great, but he's the Black Panther. He is the Black Panther. You've seen him in the cartoons, and we already know about Wakanda. This wasn't something new, but to try to see if they were going to do justice with it on the big screen, yeah, we were excited about that.
So you said, let's talk favorite characters. Who's your favorite character out of everybody?
General Okoye, come on.
Tell me about Okoye. What attracts you to Okoye?
Unapologetically.
I like saying her name, Okoye. Yeah. I love saying that.
She's unapologetically in charge, and not as a way, again, to show that, oh, I can do anything a man can do, or I'm more stronger than a man. More stronger, did I say that? Or I'm stronger than a man. It wasn't about that. It's, I'm the general. Period. This is my job, and there's a protocol to the way that we do things, and I serve at the pleasure of the throne, much in how we do here in America when people say I serve at the pleasure of the president, but that is a saying to indicate the office, not the person who's in the office, which is why she alluded, like, listen, I don't like the person who's the king right now, but that's the job.
Yes.
I protect the throne. Me and the Dora will be staying.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Here is the thing, too. Interesting enough you say that. There's an article that there's one scene, a deleted scene, that Ryan Coogler fought hard to get in, that he could not get in the movie. The executive producer and the producer made them take the scene out of the movie, and it's bittersweet. It's there's a 4-hour cut of the movie.
I'm there for it.
I'm there from the DVD. Yeah, there's a 4-hour cut.
I watch it day after day, so 2 days in a row, I could watch it again for 4 hours.
4-hour cut for the movie. Marvel wanted it. They submitted it to Marvel, but it wasn't there. And it's interesting that you bring up Okoye, because supposedly this is the scene where Okoye and Wakabi, it's their, like, that you never really saw their development of their romance,
but I believed it.
But it's in there. They just cut it.
Why?
That's the question, and that's what everybody's saying. They cut it.
See, I want to see black love. I try not to go there, but you know.
According to this, it says that there was that relationship played a key element in that battle between the Dora Milaje, and I think I'm saying that right, and the Border Tribe, right? Mm-hmm. Because they had pledged allegiance to Eric Killmonger. And before that battle where they fought each other, there was a time when Okoye and Wakabi discussed their conflicting views about Wakanda and where it should go.
Wow.
And there's that moment where they show that their relationship, and because like you, that was such a moment for me when he said, "Would you kill me, my love?" And she was like, "For Wakanda? Absolutely, you dead."
and the irony of you to even try to have this conversation, to me,
yeah.
I spoke with a couple of other female friends about this, and trust me, I'm not male bashing. I'm just saying that he went and did whatever he wanted to do without consequence to her,
yeah.
And he absolutely was still about to, he's fighting her tribe. I mean, her generals. He's definitely going against her in her job and her position and everything of that nature. And didn't worry about whether she was going to what if she had gotten killed? I understand she's the greatest warrior in Wakanda, but she's not immortal.
No.
No. So for him to turn around and say, well, would you kill me? What? The regular African-American woman, the regular woman would have been like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Like right now I'm about
that
to get you, not just because of Wakanda, but how dare you? And how dare you?
And the imagery, as we talk, kind of jumping around a little bit, the imagery of when the rhino came up, and when Wakabi was on the rhino and the rhino was running to water, and when it got to her, it just stopped
and licked her because she had already conquered that one.
She had conquered the beast.
Like, did you think for 1 second I'm the greatest?
And M'Baku
bow down. Like,
when I tell you, M'Baku looks scared, and M'Baku ain't scared of nothing.
Right.
And look, and I'm gonna just go ahead and say it for those that don't know. I'm African American. Newsflash, and I'm okay with it. And I'm a member of an African American Black Greek letter organization. All that up rolled into one. Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And you are a member of an organization as well.
Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
So, loving Delta like you do and Kappa like I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted a meme on my Instagram. By the way, go by my Instagram and check it, at Rahman J. But it was so funny. They had taken each of the characters from Black Panther and ascribed Greek letter organizations to them. And the one, like, there were some disagreements on who got what organization. The one we could all agree on.
They nailed it.
That the Jabani were definitely the Q-Dogs.
Yeah, those are the
Omega Men, yes. Omega Sci-Fi.
When they rose up, I was like... When they rose up, I was like, thank you, Jesus.
When he comes, and they were like, I think the beauty of it for me with the Jabani, M'Baku, to me, Chadwick, I think his name is, not Chadwick, his name is Michael Boseman.
I should know his name, and I understand that he was in Get Out, and please don't take my black card. I did not see Get Out.
Oh, wow.
And so many people, including my students, have been on me, pushing me, Ms. Derban, you need to see it. I don't know. I have to see. I'm still working on me.
You got to see Get Out. That's not the one. Mine was Winston C. Duke. That's his name. Winston C. Duke played M'Baku.
You say Bill Duke's doing something because he sure look like him.
No, I mean, I don't think
know.
so. It doesn't say it, but Winston Duke, I think he's from somewhere else. But he is the one that everybody is going crazy about. And I have been following him on Instagram.
Really?
Yes, I'm going to show you his Instagram. So I've been following Winston on Instagram for a while. Mm-hmm. I sent him a note, like, hey, good luck, good job, whatever. And he had, like, less followers than I did on Instagram.
Right.
Literally.
Because he probably is working, as he should be.
Literally, Black Panther comes out on Friday. When it came out, right after that, you end up jumping into... it's so funny. It came out on Friday. Before you know it, his Instagram followers had quintupled. Like, had literally quintupled to... I want to say he's at well over 100,000 now. And it was crazy. And I mean, it keeps growing for someone who, like, most people didn't know. And Winston is just an amazing act. Wow. Okay, on Friday of the week that the show came out, he had, now I don't even count my followers. I don't know how many I have, but I know I got a pretty decent amount. This guy had like 10,000 followers on Instagram. This is Wednesday. Less than a week, he now has 124,000 people following him.
I imagine.
And so we're talking about more than 150% growth. And one of the reasons is because the guy, and he's a classically trained actor. Trinbagonian is how he describes himself. Trinbagonian. Yeah. Really interesting way.
You Trini, son. You Trini.
Trinbagoni. He put it all in there.
You Trini.
Trinbagoni Wakandi.
Because I bet your people know your mama looking like your Trini's son.
Well, he's getting it. But he was my favorite character because of the fact, one of my lines, he was the comic relief. And you know, it's important for us often to find the humor, especially as people of color in this space. I was just cried laughing when he said there was, and for those of you who haven't watched the movie, sorry, you had a year to go see it. You should have got babysitters. I'm gonna spoil it. Here we go. Turn it off if you don't want to hear it. But when he barked at the one white guy that was in Wakanda, and the white guy started speaking, he was like, and he said, "Don't speak." And then he said,
"Did you wait a minute?"
What?
Yeah, M'Baku was the cute. Go ahead.
Right. When he said, and he barked at him. He's like, "Don't speak. Do not speak, or I will feed you to my children." And the white guy was like, "Ooh!" And he stepped back, and he was like, "I was just joking. We are not. We are only vegetarian."
See, now I had them mixed up because I thought that the young man you talking about was the one that was in Get Out, and M'Baku wasn't in.
No. Right, that's somebody else. Yeah. That's the other one. And he was a great actor too.
Right.
Because Get Out, that was an amazing movie.
Let's stick with the line. With the line that you talking about, feeding to the children, I thought that was such smart writing.
Smart?
Because so many people, especially the colonizers, then and unfortunately now, believe that all Africans are savages and uncivilized or cannibals. Yeah. So I thought it was such smart writing to speak to that. You know, on top of everything else that they've done to speak to the misconceptions of what it means to be African, what it means to live in Africa, to think that everyone is backward and lacking religion, lacking organization, civilization, whatever, what have you. It is not the dark continent that it was portrayed to be. It's full of sun.
And if anything, the darkness is to keep out bad influence. It's like a UV rayed continent to keep out the bad influence, you know? Let me ask you this. This has become a cultural movement. You know, it's funny. I've been wearing traditional clothing. Clearly, you being from Ghana have worn traditional clothes all of your life, as have I.
Yes.
And I posted something recently on Facebook, a picture of me in traditional clothing as a child, as a 10-year-old.
Right.
And I said, I've been in these Wakanda streets. I've been in these Wakanda streets for a long time. They ain't just walked into the Wakanda streets.
Right.
But I have to ask, so this has become a cultural phenomenon. Your sorority, like many groups across the country, bought out the theater to go and see the movie because they thought that they needed to support it by buying out the theater. One of your sorority sisters, and this is just the one I know of. I've heard it happen countless places around the country.
Right.
One of your sisters in your town where you live not only bought out the theater, but brought children from a local elementary school to the theater. LJ Holloway. She did attorney LJ Holloway.
That's my sorrow. That's my chapter sorrow. I hate sorrow.
And so she did this project, and we're seeing this happen over and over again around the country. And then you have I don't want to
Cheryl Underwood. She did it. I mean, although she's not my soror, she is Greek.
Yeah.
You know, and she reps Zeta, and she did that too.
Yeah.
You know, people use their own money. This is not corporate money.
No, this is their money.
They use their money out of their account to do this for the culture.
And so I guess my question to you is, because then you still have and forgive me for calling this name, and if anybody is offended, forgive me in advance, but sometimes if you listen to me, I'm going to be offensive. The Hoteps will then come back, and the Hoteps are like, well, y'all, and I call them the Hoteps, our Hotepians, our brothers and sisters who are saying, well, did this many people go out to vote, and this is a culture movement, and we didn't do this, and this really white people getting the money, and Jews are getting the money, and not understanding that here's an opportunity, even though this is a fictional place, it's an opportunity for people to be proud of who they are, and we've never had it before. But what does that mean to you, knowing that you know people that are actually buying out theaters and sending kids to see this movie? Is it important to you that everyone sees this movie, especially people of the African diaspora?
It is important because it opens up the conversation. I don't know how many people are having this conversation or have had to defend either group. As an African American, or a real African American, you know, there were times when I had to defend Americans or Black Americans to my family because they were buying into what they were seeing on TV and other forms of media. They drank the Kool-Aid and thought all of the negative things that they saw and heard about African Americans was true, especially if they saw some of the same things perpetuated in the neighborhood. And I'm like, that's not everybody. By the same token, I had to defend, you know, some of the behaviors of African people, and that's a whole continent, you know,
right.
When I'm only really responsible for my family and not even the country,
right.
But the country of Ghana, I mean. But, you know, defends a lot of the stereotypes that come through in Black Americans' minds because, again, they, too, have been indoctrinated to the way that Africa looks, where they are unclothed, unclean, you know, uneducated, everything with as many uns as you can think of, you know, beginning with the way that they've been portrayed from early film. You know, how is it that Tarzan, you are the lone Caucasian man in a jungle and you never tan, your complexion never changes.
And everybody needs advice from you.
You, right. You save everyone. You can speak English and the native language, but they can't speak English, only the native language.
And only you.
And only you. Only you. You know, and mind you, I like Tarzan.
I like Tarzan too, but
I think it's a story of survival.
I
good
think
for you.
It's comedy.
Yeah, like good for you.
Let's see you try that in the real world.
Right, but you have the rest of the world believing that everybody in Africa lives in huts, and you know, although that there are pockets of the continent that requires aid, like any other place. You know, the commercials you see about, you know, young children with their bellies distended because they're either suffering from famine or drought or you name it, and there are insects flying about them. It is it became a source of embarrassment, if I could be transparent, as a child, and everybody saying, oh, that's what Africa is. And I'm like, that may be a portion of Africa, but that is not all of Africa. It can't be that there's only a binary story for any one culture.
I can't tell you the number of crazy things that I've seen on social media since this movie has come out. One guy who came on social media, and like I said, I'm a former news anchor, reporter, all that stuff, and so you'll see I communicate with people all around the world, and this guy who happened to be white and who happened to be, or European American, however you want to categorize it, who had been to Africa several times, he was like, well, I've been to Africa, and I think it's wrong for you to give this, or for the movie to give this interpretation of the fact that things are wonderful in Africa, because only the warlords and people who are swindling and taking bribes and those kind of things are the ones who you see riding around in nice cars with nice clothing. And I mean, he really believed that. And he had been to Africa. And I'm like, well, sir, I too have been, but I don't know what you saw or where you saw. People live well. Very well. And no one's running around. Yeah, there is poverty there. But guess what? In some rural areas of the United States, there's poverty here as well. And so when you look at the rural area of the United States and knowing that the poverty is there, hey, we got a baby. Look at that. That's the cool thing about a podcast. And, right. And we're doing it at, that's your godson and my...
No, that's Yari. That's Yari's
Oh, that's Yari's son. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all, you know...
We adopt all the children here.
Everybody. So it's cool that the baby came by to say hi. But no, when you look at that... people really believe that. The people are running around with bones in their noses and things
my
of that
goodness.
nature.
And which is why when I saw Wakanda, I was like, oh my God. And I saw the plate in the man's mouth, and I'm like, you know what? Let me get over it. Because there are tribes that are pierced like that. But not for nothing, there are white Americans who are pierced like that.
Hello?
Everybody's pierced like that. I'm like, that's a lot. But
it was so beautiful.
To your troll, because he's not a critic, to your troll... I would challenge him in this. I am from New York, and I have seen every culture, every religion. I've been everywhere. I've seen all kinds of people. I've seen white Africans, black Jews. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But if you were to watch a Woody Allen movie, you would not see a person of color, not even walking in the background. No. So what New York is he in?
One of his own making.
One of his own making. And yet he's won countless awards, lauded. Any of his improprieties have been overlooked. I can't tell you how many times. Yeah. So I would put those apples to those apples. If Wakanda is a false sense of what Africa is, then Woody Allen's movies are a false sense of what New York is.
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
Well, one of the other lines to me that got me is that anytime, and I know you've been to Africa and other places, and there was this line that T'Challa said when he was coming back in, as he was flying into Wakanda, and he said, "This never gets old."
Oh,
as they went through the shield to get into the, and I'm like, that's how I feel. It never gets on. There are places like that for me. Anywhere in Africa, New Orleans is another one. When I get to New Orleans, because there's so much culture in New Orleans.
See something new every time.
And I've been to New Orleans like dozens of times. Every time I go, the one thing I say, like, if anybody's listening, Solange, if you need me to cut your grass.
I ain't cutting no grass, baby, but I'll come and be, I'll listen a listening ear.
I just want to live in New Orleans because I think that it is one of the most magical cities on the planet. But
there in Savannah are maybe the next two places that I would like to immerse myself in the culture. Oh, yeah. And I thought that was a fetching line as well when he said, this never gets old. If you've never traveled, if you're someone who has never traveled, get on a plane and go somewhere. The aerial view when you are getting ready to land into a country that you've never been to, or maybe you've been to 1,000 times, the landscape, it's breathtaking. Oh, God. It's breathtaking. And I feel that way whenever I fly into Africa or Mexico. And even when I flew over the mountains here, okay, yes. Colorado Rockies.
Yes. They're magnificent.
I had a layover, I think, in Utah or please don't make me lie, Utah or I want to say, I think it was Utah, Boulder, okay. Colorado. Okay. And the mountain is about 10 feet away from the airport glass. And I said, there is a real strong possibility I may just walk out of this airport and go and live because I'm like that.
Yes.
I'm like that.
I will send for my things.
Yeah, I will send for my things. I will move.
If
something moves my spirit, it was so majestic. And so did you understand the power that this had? I don't like the cold. I don't fool up with the cold. I don't like it. I left New York at 17 because
it was cold.
Cold.
Right.
I just no. So I just wanted you to understand the power that those mountains have. So him saying that in the line, I got it.
And to me, it was this marvel on top of that. Like, I think every time I fly, I have this thing in my book. I fly quite often. And I have my little prayer because I'm like, well, let me pray over the whole plane.
I do too. I pray over the plane, the pilots.
The people in the plane.
The people in
whatever.
his life. Like, let him have a good morning, a coffee, whatever you need.
Whatever you need. And it's my way because it's the universe. What will happen, happens. But it's my way of having that moment of, like my way of calming myself. Because think about it. We're up in the air in nearly 500 metric tons of metal. That's not supposed to fly.
That's God.
And so when you think of it that way, and so looking at T'Challa being in this amazing craft and flying through the air and then piercing an invisible veil to go into the most technologically advanced society on the planet that he's the leader of. And he was like, this never gets old.
Now also speaks to privilege.
Oh, my word.
Because there are people who have, and again, transcending race and culture, there are people who have the haves of this world. How many of them say, this is the good life, whatever case may be, but really are reveling in it and honoring it. Like, I know that this can be taken away, or I know that everyone doesn't live this way, and I'm not bragging about it. I'm grateful. Like, this is not old to me. It's not blasé. It's not passé.
No.
This means something. And
something new and something different for the world. I'm still in awe of everything that the movie purports.
I'm trying to hide.
I see. So what I'm doing here as well, guys, I'm also going to do some of this live on Instagram as we talk more about Black Panther. And you're trying to hide. Everybody wants to see your beautiful face.
No, they don't. I'm good. He ain't got no filters on.
Am I supposed to have filters on, like with bunny ears or whatever?
Child, listen.
So as we wrap this up, because we've been at it for quite a minute.
Yeah, because we can talk.
And, which I love it. This is great. And I wanted a show that would speak to us as people and speak to our community and all that we bring into the table.
She says you're beautiful.
Thank you. You know who that is.
You have to say thank
you. know who that is.
Who's
that person who says we're beautiful. We're looking at Instagram right now.
No, she says. Well, he says. No, he says.
No, she
says.
You know who that is? That's our student.
Which one?
Jada.
Hi,
Jada Griffin, who is now married.
Hey, Mama.
Yeah, remember she's moved to Atlanta.
I miss you so much. You could have said bye.
Well, love does that sometimes. As we are on the air here, one of our students, we're logged on to Instagram and we're doing Instagram Live.
Like, I almost forgot we were here.
right. So we're finishing up tail end of the podcast. But you always have some amazingly as we wind this down, you always have some amazingly wonderful advice to share with your students about all of your experiences. What life advice would you say is the best advice that you've been given to help set people on the right path?
Mediocrity is, if that's your goal, so be it. But if you can be amazing, why not?
Wow.
Like, why not?
Use that opportunity to be amazing.
Go be amazing.
Yeah.
And it's my call off to my students every day. I greet them with good morning, scholars, because I'm pouring into them. They are academicians.
Yes.
Okay? You are my diamonds, I tell them in the middle of class. Yeah. And at the end of the class, go be amazing. Treat somebody kindly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it sounds trite and contrived, but I promise you, the more I say it, the more that they're saying it. Now it's Ms. Derban. Yeah, go be amazing. I was amazing today. Ms. Derban, let me tell you what brought me joy this week.
Yes.
Now they're willing to share. And then I was nice to somebody, Ms. Derban, or I let somebody in, Ms. Derban.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm everything, but little couple of pearls of wisdom, it never hurt anybody.
I got you. I think that's a beautiful thing. Beautiful way to end the note as we...
That's my finger telling students to hold on, because usually my office is a
full.
Revolving door. It's usually full of students.
And so the good thing is that we're taking a few moments, though, to do this podcast and to do this live broadcast as we both... I don't even like to say teach, but I say share. As you know, I call it my learning teams.
Yeah, you do.
And I'm a learning coach. Even though, I'm a professor. I got the degrees. I've done the work. But I think I'm a learning coach. These are my learning teams. Yeah. And even though my passion is television, I love storytelling. I will always go back on TV, be a part of TV. I now have a new calling the older I get to be able to share those things that I've learned with people who could use them to benefit from them. So, and as someone said, that's another piece of living your best life. Your sorority sister said that we are not seeing you. Vaughn, that's Vaughn Mitchell.
Hi, honey. Hi, Sarah.
Vaughn said, we're not seeing you. Vaughn said, we need to see you. The cool thing is, though, the wonderful thing is that, and I think as I do other podcasts with people in the same space, we will both broadcast here. Manny is also from Ghana.
Hey,
that's
Manny.
my friend Manny. Manny's from Ghana.
Akwaba.
She's from Ghana. He taught me the Akwaba. And the boy can dance, too.
I bet we all can dance.
Yeah,
that's what
all
we
the
do.
Ghanaians can dance. Yeah. So she's her mom and dad they're from Ghana.
Yeah, we gotta do that santo.
Oh, I gotta show you this dude dancing. But I appreciate that advice.
Yeah.
And before we get out of here, we only have a few minutes left. Okay. A little bit of time. New books. What's up with the new works?
So I have In Between the Cracks, which is a novel. A novel of short stories. Slipping on Concrete is the full novel, and my latest is the Issa Izzy Chronicles, Unnecessary Monsters. Working on my cover now, hopefully dropping in the summertime, and all of them will be available via Amazon, so as an ebook and as a hardcover book. Yeah. And it's just a new thing of where this latest book is. They are partners, police partners, because I love crime dramas, Shout out to Law and Order. But they are Black and Hispanic, and they're set in New York, and they have they're flawed. They're flawed characters. The main character, her boyfriend is an arms dealer. Like,
oh, wow.
Can't be a
You got to come back and talk about this.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will.
Also, got to send shouts out before we get out of here to Julien Bacala. Julien is mon frère, my brother. Okay. They're watching right now in France, live. He's there. Hi. Julian's birthday was yesterday. So you tell him bon fête.
Bon fête? Not bon anniversaire?
Bon anniversaire, but bon fête. Bon, it's like New Year, but bon fête is what you say for birthday.
Bon fête.
Bon fête. So, Julien, I hope that I have something I prepared for you, a whole thing in French. So we'll be putting it out there. But yeah, bon fête, bon fête. Salam. Shakur, my brother Shakur, is from London.
Okay,
he lives in London. All these are my friends from
you
all
all
over the world.
You all can't see his picture, but he is like...
Who, Shakur?
Yes.
He's a boxer. Shakur's a boxer.
He's a pugilist. I know my sports. He's a pugilist.
He is one of the most amazing brothers. He has trained his little brother. Mm-hmm. These guys are amazing. His body is in ridiculously ripped condition, but he's one of the most conscious people I know. So the cool thing is having this platform where we can talk to people all over the world.
All over the world. Because it's such great globalization. We have a global community. Yeah. It's not just about your four corners in your city, your block, what have you. You're reaching out to the world, and it's important.
This is I think we were all meant to be, and this someone else says, I think that's Nisha, says we can see that picture. Yeah, they're all going crazy about let me tell you, my brother Shakur is married. The brother Shakur is married.
Yes.
He has a beautiful wife.
Yes, please. I didn't mean it that way.
Salam to your wife. Give her my love. Beautiful, beautiful family. Right. And much love to you as well, brother Shakur. He's just a devout brother and just an amazing guy. Should be. And brother Manny, Manny, by the way, the Ghanaian brother who's there, is also a just world-class chef.
So he's the one you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen your cooking tutorials. I've seen that.
Yeah, he does
I made light soup and fufu last night. I did that.
You got to check his stuff out. So we're going to get you definitely on the podcast. Love to all of you. Thank you for being on the Rahman Experience.
Love you, whoever you are. I educated_T.
You guys have seen, let's see, there's Nate. Nate went to school here. I see him. Hey, Shakur, thank you. Much love. We're going to get you on the podcast. Amazing. Yeah. Everybody that joined, and Julien, I love you, bro. That's like it's real crazy. He's also former French basketball player, or current plays French basketball. Okay. And you got to see his fiance. Leticia. She is like, oh God, Leticia is
he says
so
everyone's
beautiful.
name with the accent.
I have to call her Leticia. Her page is AE Derban. You can find
Yes, you can find me.
You can find her at AE Derban. Hey, Nick from Atlanta. And Jada, we will always miss you. Look, Jada says, I will always miss how you guys made an impact in my life.
Oh,
that's Jada. Yeah.
Because
Good
she's
stuff.
amazing.
Amazing.
And so many blessings to you. So many.
She's doing such a fine job at being just a woman.
Yes.
It's funny. Her mom came up to me.
There goes Jay. First of all, thank you for posting those Instagram pictures. I love that you were part of the tribe. And there goes Jay. He did the stunt work, part of the stunt work for Black Panther.
Black Panther, he did.
You know,
that's my little acting brother.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, my little brother.
Him. Like, so you know, shout out to you. I love the work you're doing. You know, your win is everyone's win. That's how we look at it.
We are rooting for you. In my Tyra Banks voice. Yeah, AE Derban. That's her name. So everybody go follow her. Yeah. Follow AE
and Derban is Derban.
There you go. Derban. T.
Yeah.
Brooks, what's up, cuz T? So good to see all of you guys. Thank you all for always logging on and keeping the for the culture. For Wakanda.
Wakanda.
With that being said, any final words? I know you gave your final thoughts, but
if you haven't seen Black Panther, do it for the culture. I did it. I very rarely go to see movies during open weekend, but I braved the crying. I braved the chewing with your mouth open. Braved the, oh my God, don't you see? I braved all of that for the culture. Saturday and Sunday with my sorority sisters. Just an amazing story. And again, so much social commentary on how we treat each other as Africans and African Americans. Yeah. You know, sons need their fathers. What happens when we're abandoned? It spoke not just to the father-son dynamic, but how Africans may have felt when they were abandoned, either here in America and or in Africa. So let's be mindful of all the social commentary and of course, girl power.
Girl power.
There it is.
I want to bring in Jay real quick because before we get out of here.
Right.
And by the way, I went to Wakanda 4 times. Four times in a row.
Yeah.
And I wore a different ethnic ensemble each day. Jay wanted to come in, but I don't see him. If you log onto Instagram, you'll see our different pictures and ensembles. But again, Professor Derban?
Yes, Professor Rahman.
Thank you for keeping the culture alive. I don't think Jay's coming in. I'm not sure. I'm trying to get him, and I don't think he's coming in.
I don't know why not.
But Manny, you can see all of our ensembles on Instagram on our pages. AE Derban, Derban. You know mine.
I think I sent you.
Again, thank
you
for discussing the movie. And you got to come back.
I guess. Of course, I'll come back. Thank you.
And thank you again. We appreciate it. And to everybody out there checking out the Rahman Experience, don't forget you can get us wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes. I happen to use CastBox, which I really love CastBox, where I get my podcasts. But tell people about the show. There are some exciting episodes coming up with some interesting people from all over the world. They're going to be right here in the Rahman Experience. So thank you for enjoying and sharing this time with me. And I look forward to sharing with you in the future. And remember, if nobody said it to you, I love you. Make the rest of the day unequivocally, absolutely, wonderfully amazing.
The Rahman Experience. It's a brand new experience, a brand new time, a brand new way to do it. Hey, yeah, it's all mine. I'm the one telling stories you thought couldn't be told. I'm the one that bring you in when you shaking from the cold. I'm the one always out front, trying something new. I'm the one that's gonna deliver when they ask what it do. Politics, entertainment, a science, all the news. Keeping you on the level with the stuff you can use. DJ Kids on the beat, Ross got the track. It's the Rahman Experience. You know that's where it's at.